Hello.
Hey Knox, how's it going, man?
It's good. Going very well. Hey, nice to meet you.
Yes, sir. Very much.
Yeah.
Very nice. Oh, you froze. Uh-oh. And he's back.
Yeah. There we go.
All right. Very cool, man. Very cool. So how are you this afternoon for you?
Well, I actually just woke up because we had a show in Turku last night and we drove back to Tampere. It's only a couple hours drive, but then when we have to drop off each member to their own place, it was 7 a.m. when I got to bed.
Oh, goodness, man. The life of a
Yeah,
musician.
that's right. That's right. It's going to be that for a couple of weeks now.
Very cool. I saw you guys just started your tour recently. You had at least you had one show. You have another one tomorrow. Is that right? Or
We had two shows this
oh,
weekend,
oh,
Friday and Saturday, and then next week we are going to take off to Europe.
that's that's awesome, man. I best of luck on that tour and everything, man.
Yeah,
So
thank you very much.
so to uh to get it out of the way early, I wanted to ask, what is the pronunciation of the band name? Is it different in
Uh,
English?
well, it's actually a Spanish surname, so if
Oh,
you would, you could say that the correct pronunciation is Torquia in a Spanish way, but we do not care. You can pronounce the name any way you want. It's all correct. But I'd like to say Torquia because it comes from a Spanish family name.
oh, very cool. I was trying to avoid the cliche, how do you get your name? But I just wanted to make sure the pronunciation was right because I've never spoken to anybody from Finland before. So trying to be very careful and very respectful of the language barriers and cultures and whatnot.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
So before Torquia became fully realized project, what was like the first spark? What was it? The music, the imagery, the narrative, or just something harder to define?
Um, very early on, it was just, our guitarist Ville Mort, he just wanted to make metal music and he gathered up his friends to make thrash influenced metal music that takes from death metal, power metal, all of this. And in the early years, we were like a very regular thrash metal guys playing thrash influenced melodic death metal with camo shorts and tank tops. And then just somehow over the years we were constantly thinking that how can we evolve this thing?
Mhm.
And at some point we realized that the subject matters of the songs, they are very dark, so we wanted to take this into a darker place. And at some point, Villemort started to introduce some fantasy elements to his lyricism, and we realized that that is super fun to us. It's exciting, so we wanted to lean into that, and that's what we've been doing all these years, ever evolving into the dark fantasy realm that is the cursed world of Torquia.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it, man. I can tell you that much. The imagery and
Yeah,
everything, it's more of an experience. You're not watching a video, you're being pulled in, and that at least for me, man. So,
yeah.
all right.
To us, it's more fun because uh, there are a lot of metal bands that they make great music, but they don't have this uh, greater concept.
Mhm.
And I think that was cool back in the day when like melodic death metal was a very new type of genre. It was then solely about the music. But now that the genre has been there for such a long time, I think it's cool to introduce some visual and thematic elements to it as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I'm sure obviously you guys can't go into as theatrical as you do for videos on a live show, but uh, how do you guys try to incorporate more visual, more theatrical during the shows?
Um, well, a lot of it has to do with my character,
Mhm.
and people always come to me after the shows that they tell me that they love my performance because I move a lot on the stage.
Mhm.
And I think what separates my performance from a lot of metal front figures is that I approach my performance more of as a dance. I really like to move to the music and not just headbang and run around the stage. I like to move my body with the music. And I think that is something that really resonates with the people. And somehow that has shaped my character very much. And that has become the center point for our live performance.
Mhm.
And and of course our music is very straightforward, hard hitting, and we want to have that energy in the performance as well. So there is going to be a lot of windmill headbanging as well. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, that's one thing. Like you mentioned, you back in the day, you could really get away with the minimalistic, theatrics and whatnot.
Mm.
Personally, as a concept, before I started doing photography and stuff, if I'm going to come to your show, I'm going to take my time, spend my money to come to your show, entertain me. If I just want to hear your
Yeah.
music, I'll buy your CD and sit at home. But snacks are free.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So a lot, yeah, like you've already hinted on it, but like a lot of the bands build aesthetics around the music afterwards. Torquia feels very different, like almost like you guys were building the mythology before the songs existed. At least that's how it's coming across to me. Was that the idea?
Uh, well, it's actually quite the other way around.
Oh,
Uh, like I said in the beginning, the
mhm.
music was very just thrash metal influenced, and there was none of this fantasy element.
Right.
And and then we were the I think it was a natural evolution that they
Uh-oh. Lost you again, man. He's back.
uh, and we're back. I'm not sure which one of us froze. I hope it's not my internet.
I don't know. It's you just dropped to me. I just was showing big picture
Okay.
again. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying, I think the thematics and the music, they have been evolving hand in hand. It's really quite hard to say which is pushing which more. I think we have this. I think me and Villemort, our guitarist and songwriter, we
Mhm.
have this dynamic that I'm pushing the narrative and the visual, and Villemort is pushing the musical and the lyrical part of the concept. And I think we just have a shared idea of where we want to take this, and we have shared interests. So it's been just really natural that the concept and the music, they have been evolving to this point. And at some point we just realized that we have a direction where we are going, and with the new album They Are Born Under Rules of the Darkness, we kind of said it out loud and made an agreement that we realized a pattern, and now we want to take a more focused path towards that.
That's very cool. You guys are able to have that, say these are our creative goals. These are where you're going to
Mm.
handle this. I'm going to handle that. I've seen a lot of
Yes.
creatives not be able to find that harmony and just kind of butt heads the entire way.
Yeah,
And
I think if you've if you've listened to our previous album Arcane Magic Eye and seen the music videos and the photographs of the band back in that era, back then we still had the concept was in the phase of it was just some dark fantasy concept, and I just realized that yes, it's fantasy, you can tell that, but it was really hard to pinpoint what my character was representing, and it was quite vague. And then I realized that many of the bands that have succeeded with a very strong visual concept, it's very easy to take a glance at the picture of the band, and without even hearing the music, you can tell what they are about. Let's say Ghost. You can take a picture of Ghost, and maybe you don't even know what the music is going to be, but you know it's like this satanic Catholic imagery. So at that point, I realized we are very vague, and we want to narrow it down. And I think the first thing that I was looking at, I wanted to have an era. I wanted to set the concept of Torchia and the world of Torchia into a time and a place, and we chose the 19th century Victorian era England, maybe, because me and Villemort, we are huge fans of Gothic horror that spawned from that era of literature. And it was a very interesting era when science was evolving very fast, but there was still these unknowns that we have in science, and that sparked very interesting, strange stories at that time. And I think that was something that we already had in our music, and something that me and Villemort both enjoyed very much. Vampire stories, Frankenstein, stuff like that. And that's where we landed with the new album, They Are Born Under Rules of the Darkness. And that's what we are going to move forward with.
It's when are you guys getting ready to, the new album's getting ready to be dropped, or has it dropped already? I don't.
It dropped this Friday.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I knew it was coming up. I knew it was coming up, and you're saying like past tense. I'm like, did I miss it? So apparently I did. I'm sorry about that, man.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I
Yeah.
only missed it by a couple of days, so I don't feel that bad.
Yeah, you can take a listen after this interview.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So do you ever feel or I guess Villemort is the one that does the writing. I was gonna say, do you ever feel like it's consciously writing mythology or uncovering parts of something that already exists internally?
I think he's drawing, like his music, also in his lyrics, he's drawing from very different places. So I don't think we even want to make this very narrative, or maybe I think for the next album we probably are going to tie in the songs a bit more into each other, because we had already a bunch of songs made when we started to think about this new conceptual direction for this album. So it's not super coherent, but at this point we realized what we had and we built from that. So going into the next album, I think we are going to make think about more overarching narratives going forward. Yes.
I love hearing about how different people approach different things. It's just, you can have 10 different bands look at the same idea and you're going to get 30 different outtakes on it. It's just amazing to see how creativity works, man. So the term curse, because you said curse of Torchia, the term curse can mean so many things: pain, legacy, transformation, obsession. What does the curse represent to you personally?
That's another thing that we had carried on for a very long time. So it felt natural to
Ah, I lost chicken. Oh man, this sucks. Hopefully he comes back. Mm. Something keeps happening. I don't know.
Yeah, oh no. I think I'm going to share the Wi-Fi from my phones.
Okay.
There we go.
All
Let's
right.
hope that's better. Yeah. But you were asking about the curse.
Right. Right.
So I was saying we had that was something that we had carried with us for a long time. So it felt really natural to now lean into it even more than before. And the curse came up with our okay.
I can't hear you, man. I see your mouth moving, but I can't hear anything from you.
How about now?
There we go. There we
Yeah, it was still getting the connection.
Gotcha.
All right. Some editing to do for you.
Ah, no worries. No worries.
Yeah. But yes, the curse.
Yeah.
I think this phone call is cursed somehow.
So, oh, one again. I can see it moving.
Okay,
There we go.
let's see.
All right. Yeah, I can hear you. That sounds good. Look, there we go.
Yeah. All right. Third time's the charm. So the curse was something we had carried on for a very long time. So it felt natural to lean into it at this point. And it originally came to us from our first album of Curses and Grief. And how we came up with the idea of the curse was that we just took a look at all of the songs that we had on the album and the lyrical content, and it felt like all of these characters, they had some like they were cursed. They had major setback, or yeah, all of these characters were going through a very hard time for different reasons. So there we had the curse. And somehow I was always thinking that doing music, being in a metal band, it's really hard at this point, and it can sometimes be a bit thankless. But somehow it's only, we don't know how to do anything else. We just need to do this music, and it can be very hard, but there's no other way we know. So in a sense, that felt like a curse, that we are cursed to make this music, even though at some points it feels very irrational. So that was, in a sense, like a joke between us, that we are cursed to make this music. But then it lends itself very nicely into this concept. And in a sense, the people who are listening to our music become our fans. They become part of the curse, and they share it with us, the burden of making this metal music.
I can tell you as a metalhead for many, many, many years that, like you said, it may seem like a thankless job, but I promise you, man, you're helping people through some really hard times of their own.
Yeah, and I want to stress.
I lost the sound, man. You're losing you again. Ah, something's going on with the internet. This sucks. Is it mine? Why not mine? Fantastic. And I lost him again.
There we go.
There we go.
I'm gonna do a quick speed test.
I did one just now, and I'm pretty solid. I don't know if it's somewhere, if we're losing each other somewhere across. I mean, this is a long distance call, man.
Yeah. I think it's on my end, but Wi-Fi. So maybe I'll try the phone, but
Okay.
on connected. All right. I'll
Fingers crossed.
yeah. I'll try with my phone again because I actually had some problems with my home Wi-Fi. I thought I figured it out today, but the phone dropped me off as well. But maybe that was just a one-off.
Fingers crossed. We'll
Fingers
keep
crossed.
pushing. We'll keep pushing, man.
Yeah. But hey, you said that. Oh, I want to stress that even though I said making this music can feel like a very thankless job at some points, it's always also very rewarding. And every time we do a show and someone comes to us and tells how much they loved it and how much they love the new album, people, now that we released the album, we've gotten tons of messages, people saying that it's going to be one of their favorite albums of the year. That all makes it so worth it. And yes, it's just the best feeling, and that's why we do it. That's how we bear with the curse.
Makes it, yeah, absolutely, man. So something else like you mentioned about your writing for the previous times, you know, like the 19th century Gothic and everything. But I can't help but feel like the music feels cinematic in places, but also ritualistic. When you guys are creating and writing together, how do you translate the narrative or emotion into actual sound?
Well, we actually don't do any writing together. It's
Oh,
all Willemort. He brings complete demos to us with programmed drums and even vocals by himself. And we offer suggestions on the arrangements for most songs, but he does completely the composition.
oh,
But
sorry.
but a thing he's been striving for with the last two albums is to make things more simple, to make them more memorable and catchy, because it's oftentimes with bands like us that we really like to play very technical and fast music. So you have this urge to show off, but then as you mature and as your music matures, you realize that you can have the technical chops in there, but you also need to have solid songwriting, and songwriting means making something memorable. So that's what Willemort has been striving for the last two albums. And I think that is the part that makes it feel like ritualistic and maybe have those emotions be a bit more clear and come forth in a more powerful way.
That's very awesome, and that's I can't even imagine how busy his head has to be that creative. I can't even fathom
Yep.
that.
It's a mystery to us as well.
So are there any specific sounds, textures, or vocal approaches you guys like to use almost like as storytelling devices?
Yeah, increasingly, yes. Going back again to our first album, we actually had this. We decided that we don't want to have anything other than the band instruments. So the first album is very raw, very old school.
Mhm.
And then for the second album, we had like a couple of choirs and a couple of organs
Mhm.
somewhere in there. And then they have been increasing as we go. And now with the new one, there's definitely an intention to create like a more of a narrative with the choices of the orchestral instruments that we have, something that invoke the sense of the time period that we are trying to emulate, especially with organs.
Mhm.
Those, of course, we have choirs and we have violin. These are quite universal sounds, but I think the organs, especially, they invoke some kind of more older period.
Mhm. Yeah, they something about an organ just hits different, man. It just really does.
Yep. And actually, Villemort just yesterday said that he would like to use theremin in a future album to bring it to the 19th century atmosphere. So
That's not an instrument you hear very often in a metal at all,
that's true.
or at all, really.
Yep.
Wow.
So keep an eye out for that.
Absolutely,
You,
man.
you heard it first here.
So, has there ever been a moment when you guys are creating that the song actually surprised you, or the music surprised you? Came heavier or more emotional than you were expecting?
Um, well, yes. Uh, it's always exciting for us when
Mhm.
Villemort is bringing us the demos because we never know what to expect. And I think the strong point of our music has always been that our songs are very diverse
Mhm.
and our albums are very diverse.
Mhm.
We have some songs that are very death metal influenced and some that are power metal influenced.
Mhm.
So in that sense, when we get the first songs, I think one of the earliest songs for this album that got made was the opening track Necromanteion,
Mhm.
which is very heavy and very dark. And that was a new direction for us. And we were very excited that, oh, this is what Torchia is going to sound like going forward. But then later on, we get Hellmouth, which is super melodic,
Mhm.
like very power metal influenced. So then we realized that, okay, it was a false flag. The whole album is not going to be Necromanteion. So in that sense, we do get surprised very often.
That's awesome, man. That you're able to do that and continue to do that. I will say, Hellmouth so far has been my favorite video. I mean, I've enjoyed, but that one for whatever reason, I keep coming back to that one. I don't know what it is. It's just something about that one just hits me. I don't know. Uh,
We finally had the chance to play it live, and it's the closing song for our set. And I have to say, it instantly became one of my live favorites. It's so bursting with energy when you're
yeah.
playing that song. Very much fun.
Well, now that you mentioned that, I have to ask: do you guys have any hopes or plans to come to make it to the U.S. at some point?
Of course, it will be so great, and I think it's a dream for a lot of most European bands, because of course you're playing on another continent. It means quite a lot. But as you know, it's super expensive to
Yeah.
cross the Atlantic. Especially now, it's getting a lot more and more expensive by the year,
Yeah.
and tons of visa work going into that. Also, the states are so big that you should, if you're going to go there, you should do the whole tour. So I I sincerely hope we can do it at some point.
Mhm.
I think we will, but it's not going to be in the near future.
Right. Understood. And for various reasons, it will just say I understand. So, and so I a lot of Nordic art carries the sense of isolation, reflection, even spiritual weight. Do you think that the environment shapes creativity differently compared to places that are louder and more chaotic?
Mm, well, of course, it's hard for me to say because it's the only experience that I have. But uh, thinking about that, I think to us, it's actually, it would be nice if our concept was about, nature and isolation and things that we have here in Finland. But we decided to do this more continental Europe, uh, 19th century concept. So it's in a way bummer that we don't have these things so much in Finland. But I'm sure Villemort, he lives in the middle of a forest. If I'm exaggerating just a bit, but uh, he has his own house in a isolated little town uh, just outside Tampere. So I think it does play a role in his music.
That's awesome. I've only seen, like I said, I've never been to Finland. I've seen pictures of it, and what I find funny is the concentration of black and death metal bands that come from such a beautiful country. It's like, why are you guys so angry? It's gorgeous there. So
Well, if I'm being honest, I think there are some very long overarching cultural factors that have played into the prevalence of metal music in Finland. First of all, it's like hundreds of years ago, it's been really hard to live in Finland because it's very cold and the growing season is very short. So it has been rough to live at these latitudes, for centuries. And I think that has played into like the Finnish folk music. It's quite melancholic, quite dark in nature, and then also later Finnish like tango and polka music, whatever. It's been really melancholic. So I think we have that in our culture. So it's been a very natural birthing ground for metal music as well. So I think there is some environmental aspect to it.
very, very awesome.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a point where the project became heavier than expected?
Well, I think. Well, actually, yes. Our first album, it was very thrash influenced, and then we actually had a talk that we wanted to take it more into a death metal direction. And the second album, The Coven, that's more of a death metal record with some power metal songs, of course, but the sound is very death metal. And after that, with Arcane Magicae, we wanted to modernize the sound. And then we dropped our tuning for the guitars to C standard from D standard. So that also brought some heaviness to the sound. And at that point, I wanted to make a change with my vocals. I had been having these very high shrieks on the first two albums, and I really didn't like doing those, and I kind of didn't like the sound of them. Villemort liked the sound of that. But then we came to the conclusion that it's actually better if I lower my growls a bit. So for Arcane Magicae, we lowered the guitar tuning, we lowered my voice, modernized the sound a bit, and that was the winning combination. That album brought us forward a lot more because we got heavier.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I've seen, as I've been prepping for this interview, I was listening to your guys' catalog and everything, and you can definitely see the progression. And I guess as much as I love metal, I guess I have a hard time determining between power metals and thrash metal and all the different
Mhm.
genres and stuff. If I like it, I like it. If I don't sit there and nitpick as to, well, that's, that's more power, that's more grunt. I try not to do that because I find that takes away from the experience for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Just for me, and I don't want to pigeonhole a band or something, or turn somebody off. Well, it sounds more like this, and they're automatically gonna be like, no. So
Yeah. I think uh every great band in any given genre kind of escapes the easy definition.
yeah,
So I think that what makes a great death metal band is that they have some elements that doesn't fit the death metal category most of the time.
yeah,
So I think that that's been our strong suit as well. And I like to say that Villemort's influences are not that much from other melodic death metal bands, but they are from those genres that the original melodic death metal pioneers took influence from. So I think that's why our sound is a lot more close to the very original melodic death metal bands like At the Gates, let's say Carcass, and maybe later Death albums.
hmm yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah. So projects this immersive usually demand something personal from people creating them. What has Torquia demanded from you emotionally or mentally over time?
Um, well, of course, I think Villemort pours his heart into the songs and to the lyrics, and I think there is a lot of personal stuff that I'm completely missing because I don't know. I just have the feeling that there's something in this lyric, but I don't ask. I don't have to know. So I can't talk to that. But to me, is of course this band doing a band at this scale. It does demand a lot of sacrifice,
Mhm.
especially in time. So um, that is the biggest sacrifice for me. Is just pouring so much time into the band, and it's always away from other hobbies and other aspects of my life. So
Gotcha.
yeah, that's the curse. That's the curse.
Very awesome, Nox. I really appreciate you taking time with me today, man. I don't want to hold you up longer than I needed to. I did have one last question for you.
Don't worry about it. I've been enjoying this chat very
Oh,
much.
very cool.
Yeah,
Trust me. Unfortunately, I can go all day. So,
yeah. Let's keep it going. Yeah.
all right, cool. Very cool. Then I have to ask because, like you mentioned earlier, you guys are currently in the middle. You just did two shows, Friday and Saturday, and you got some more shows coming up.
Yep.
When you guys are on the road, what's a must-have snack or food on the bus?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I think it's I think it's al almost always just potato chips. It's not to not, nice to get the salts. So any sugary sweets, those are not good for your endurance. It's always nice to get some salt so you keep hydrated. So
Oh,
potato chips, those. And we always, when we go abroad, it's always nice to mm, check out the flavors that we don't have in Finland.
my wife is part Thai, and her mom's from Thailand and her dad
Yep.
is from Italy, and we go to the Asian market here a lot.
Mm,
And the funny thing is, I'm sure you've heard of Frito-Lay, the potato chip company.
yeah.
Uh, well, my uncle used to work there for many
Ah,
years, and so we go to the Asian market and we see these Asian Frito-Lay flavored chips that are like so. As an American, it's like that what? It's just, and then I'll send you some pictures of them to show you
yeah.
some because it just blows my mind seeing because Frito Lay, you got Fritos and Doritos and stuff like that in America. Well, it's the same company, and it just completely like wasabi and seaweed and stuff like that. And it's like,
Yep.
and then there's these prawn chips that we get that are just delicious. And as an American, you would never see them unless you go to these Asian markets. And it's just some of the stuff that I'm curious about some of them, but some of them it's like, I'm not even about to attempt that. It's just not happening. So,
Yep.
but I get what you're saying about different flavors for different places. That's
Yep.
cool. Now, being as you guys are as theatrical as you are, I am very curious. Do you have any routines, rituals, or just practices you have to either ramp up for or wind down from a show?
Um, I think it's just a very regular party. No, nothing too uh nothing too conceptual in there. We just grab some drinks and have a good time. Yeah. I think that's the Finnish way. Yeah, very straightforward. Yeah.
So I have is there any venues or cities that you're hoping to hit at some point? Like you're like, we have to hit this at some point in the future.
Um well, of course, another another dream for most European bands would be going to Japan. And we actually had that opportunity in 2020, but then COVID hit. So that is something we really want to do at some point, because we already had that chance before, but it's been hard to make it happen after
Right.
COVID. But we had the chance to go to Taiwan in 2017.
Wow.
One of the best experiences in my life. So that is something we want to do again. And when we are going to Japan, we are definitely going back to Taiwan and taste those seaweed potato chips again. I grew a liking to those back then.
So I am curious. With I had a question. I just lost it because what you're talking about. I was trying to elaborate on that. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Uh, that really bothers me. It was a good question too. Hopefully it comes back around in the track.
For sure.
But I was trying to think. Trying to. Wow, it's gone. I had a question for you about that, and it's that sucks. I never really knew that European bands going to Japan was such a big thing. That's actually news to me. I haven't heard that.
Oh well, I think maybe it's Finland and Japan. We have some kind of a special cultural relationship. I think Finnish people are very interested in Japanese culture.
Mhm.
I am myself. I watch a lot of anime. I like a lot of Japanese music, and vice versa. Japanese people, they have fondness of Finnish culture.
Really?
Maybe. Do you know Moomin?
No.
Yeah, they are these Finnish cartoon characters,
Mhm.
and Japanese people love them, and I love them too. So there's this interesting cultural fondness either way. So I think it's probably for Finnish bands something that is very common to want to play in Japan. Yeah.
That's very cool, man. I learn something new every day, hopefully. So
Yeah.
trying to think that question I had for you, man, it's gone. If I think of it, I'll message you and say and ask you.
Yeah. Let's add it to the add it to the end credits.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm trying to think, Knox, but like I said, I really do appreciate you taking time with me today, man. And get some rest and everything. And how many more? Is there any bands that you hope to headline or not headline, but you hope to tour with at some point?
Well, actually, our dream is coming true right now, because we are touring with Whispered. It's another melodic death metal band from Tampere, our hometown, and we've been friends with them for a long time. Joni from Whispered has done many music videos for us, and they are actually, their genre is specifically true Finnish samurai metal. So there we have the Japanese connection once again with Finnish bands.
So you said Whispered? I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, Whispered. So they basically play melodic death samurai metal. Very cool band. And we're going on tour to Europe with Whispered, supporting them. And that is really cool for us because it's such a great band from our hometown, and those guys are good friends. So it's going to be a blast.
When is that happening?
Well, we are taking off next week. We are going to play some shows of our own in the Baltics, and then we are going to unite with Whispered week after that, and then we are going to play 10 shows straight across Europe.
Oh, very cool. So 10 shows over like 2-3 weeks. I'll have to get those tour dates and post it when I post this up with everything, so people can definitely check you out, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so is there any other bands or projects other than Whisper do you want to make people aware of that people may not have gotten a lot of attention yet?
Well, I would like to plug Omnivortex, friends of ours as well. Technical death metal from Finland, Helsinki. Very cool band. They just dropped their latest EP. Highly recommended. And then this weekend we played shows with Bloody Falls, another Finnish band, good friends of ours. Definitely highly suggested Bloody Falls. Take a look.
I remembered my question, Nox. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So my question was, I noticed that the majority of your music that I've found is already written and sung in English. Do you find that that has an easier time crossing cultural or language barriers from the majority of people?
Oh, for sure. Actually, we talked about this just yesterday, that I think singing in some other language native to you other than English, I've noticed that it's very advantageous in folk metal and black metal. Those are maybe those have maybe some roots to the culture that the band originates from. But in other genres, it's probably easier to have a broader appeal if you sing in English, because like melodic death metal, that has been innovated a lot in, or melodic death metal per se, I guess that's from Sweden, but you know, the style of extreme metal that we play, it comes from the States and the UK. So I think that's why it's a bit more natural to sing in English. And obviously it's easier to cross the cultural barrier that way.
Very, very cool. Yeah, like I said, this has been the first time I've talked to anybody from Finland before, and so I was very careful. I was reading up on Finnish culture and whatnot and speaking patterns, because you can have different cultures, different people, even people in the same country have completely different patterns. And I was trying to make sure that I was being extremely respectful to, your ways and everything. And like I mentioned previously in our messaging, most interviews, just randomly I'll throw in just random stupid questions to throw people off, like, is there a wrong way to walk the stairs? A wrong direction? Or how many chickens does it take to kill a rhinoceros? Just to see how people, because I'm sure you've done many interviews and you get the same questions over and over and over. And I never want to fall into that trap where it's like, you've been asked this 80 times today. So it's like, I didn't want to do that to you. So, but at the same time, I didn't know how, if I just randomly threw those in there, if you'd catch on to that or something. I didn't want to, like I said, I didn't want to be disrespectful. So
yeah, don't worry about it. Well, you have never talked to a Finnish person, but I can assure you, we are quite Americanized in here. I consume a lot of American media, of course, so there's not as much of a cultural barrier that you might think.
True, very true. And like you said, you speak very, very good English. I mean,
yeah, thank you.
I mean, I make the joke that I speak English and bad English, more bad English than anything. So, but
Yeah.
so I just out of curiosity, uh, what all instruments do you play, or do you play any?
Yeah, I'm actually a guitarist originally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I love playing guitar, but mm, I'm not that. I could never play Torchia songs, you know, in a live setting. And I've, that is what I love. Villemort's style is that he makes a very simple riffs that I can play to. The main riff of the song and the chorus riff, they are always super simple that intermediate guitar player like myself can pick that up and enjoy playing that song because it's so much fun to play those songs. But then somewhere along the song, there comes the really technical chops that we like to listen to, but I could never play. Yeah.
I love I have honestly, Knox, I love how quick you are to credit Villamort, with the creativity side of things and the
Yeah.
writing and everything. I love how you're absolutely saying, hey, he's the one, he's the driving force, and like you're coming up with the aesthetics and whatnot. If I got that right, that's what I meant earlier about
Yeah.
writing. Is like he's got the stuff done, but you're doing the creative side of it, like where the visuals, the interpretation to the rest of us. Like you're like it kind of feels like you're the interpreter between the audience and him. It sounds like you're putting.
That's a really cool way to put it. I
Oh,
think we have a strange symbiosis where we are both like the creative force behind the band.
mhm,
He, I would say, more so because of course it all begins with the music,
mhm,
but I have more of the visual style and the concept. But of course, the lyrics are so big part of the concept. So I just keep feeding him ideas, but he also gets his own ideas. But we have this small little coordination going
mhm.
between ourselves that we keep in sync. That our ideas are going into the same direction.
Oh, it's definitely working, man. That's for sure. It's definitely
Yeah,
working.
good
Uh,
to hear that.
so is there anything else you guys have in the works you want to share, or everything else kind of too new yet? You want to keep it?
Well, at this point, we are just so focused on the album release
Mhm.
that was this Friday. So it feels so good. I have to say, this album, they are all quite hard to make, but this was a very hard album to make because we wanted to get it out very fast
Mhm.
so we can move forward and just get the new music out to people. And the schedule, it was too tight, but we managed through it and we didn't compromise on quality whatsoever, but it it was a hard time at some point. So now it's such a relief to just really get the album out and
Mhm.
go on tour and enjoy, uh reap the benefits from that hard work.
Absolutely. Now that it's up on all the streaming platforms, and then are people able to buy the CD from your merch store or merch on the website?
uh yeah, we have several dealers. We have
Mhm.
our label Rockshots Records, and they're distributing also to US. I think you can find it on Amazon, and also is it mvdshop.com,
Okay.
mvd, a distributor that has the vinyl and the CD for
Oh,
US. Yeah, and I'm actually just realized I really want to shout out our cover artist, Kalen Stockermans from
okay.
uh, I want to get this right, from Ohio. Yes, Cleveland. So a very talented American artist who did the album artwork for this album. Is just amazing, amazing how he got the vision for this album. And it also fed into us because we still had some lyrics in the air as he was doing the painting for this album. So it
Very
also had a tiny influence on that.
I'm sitting about an hour south of Cleveland, so I'm very familiar.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have to reach out and find out, talk to this guy, because I saw I believe I saw the cover work. I remember I've seen a barrage of stuff for you guys trying to prep for today, so
Yeah.
it's all kind of blending together. I'm gonna have to. I
Mm.
don't want to verify. I don't want to save one thing or another, but everything I've seen from you guys so far, and I'm not just saying it, it just draws me in. You guys just hit me on a molecular level, man. As soon as you showed up in my feed on Instagram, and I'm like, oh my god, and then just I went down a rabbit hole for like 3 days straight, man. So
That's
finally, I
so
worked up the
cool.
nerve to
Thanks.
message you. So
Yeah, hey,
cool.
thanks for reaching out. It was really lovely to chat with you. And I also I want to still say something about the
Sure.
cover art because we were originally going to call this album Necromante on the
Mhm,
first track, title track,
mhm,
the first track. But when we got the album artwork, then we realized that we wanted to tie it into the hell theme
mhm,
that we have on 3 songs on
mhm,
the album. And we were going through the lyrics of the hell trilogy, as we like to call it,
mhm,
and everything was feeling kind of a generic, Inferno Reigns.
mhm,
Wow, pretty generic. But then as I took a look at the painting, and there we have this dark mage that is summoning this demon horde from the pits of hell,
mhm,
I realized that we have this line, they are born under rules of the darkness, in the song Diamond Machine, that
mhm.
is not directly about hell. Well, you need to check that song out. It has a quite interesting story that I'm not going to spoil here. But I think that line was really fit the album artwork.
Mhm,
So the title for the album actually came from the artwork and not the other way around.
mhm.
And of course, we had a long discussion about, is that title too long, because it's quite a monster. They are born under rules of the darkness. And I even did some benchmarking. I took all the long album titles that I could think of, and it was always the longest. And I was like, yes, I want to make this. Only one album title I could come up with that was longer is Peace Sells, but who's buying? And that's because of the 3 dots in there.
Yeah, that. I never really thought about album name lengths. That's never actually been a concern or thought I've even considered.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a quite a mouthful.
Yeah, but I mean, Pink Floyd has the longest song title. Several small species of critters gathered in a cave grouping with a pick. I think that's off of Umaguma. I know that they have the longest
Yeah,
song,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. And of course, we are huge fans of Nile, the American death metal band, and they are known for their very, very long song titles, like Chapter of Obeisance, Before Giving Breath to the Inert One in the Presence of the Crescent-Shaped Horns. so, so that was, of course, an inspiration for the long album title. We wanted to pay a little tribute to Nile.
I'll make sure I'll see if I can tag them guys too and be like, hey, check out at least you're mentioned. You're heavily mentioned.
Yep.
All right, man. I'm gonna get off of here because I don't want, like I said, I don't want to hold you up any longer than I need to. And I would love to be able to stay in touch with you, man, because this is really awesome. And on top of that, I will be checking out I'll have to check out your store, see if I can get you guys to sign a CD for me and buy a CD and get that sent over. That'd be
Yep.
fantastic. I never do selfies with bands or anything, and it's kind of hard to do one with you guys right now, but
Yep.
eventually. I buy CDs and get them signed and stuff. That's my thing, kind of old school thing. So, but what I forgot to ask you, I didn't. I'm sure I saw it in my reading up on you guys. When did you guys start? When did you guys form originally?
Like originally in 2010 already, so it's been a while, and I joined the band in 2015.
Mm,
But the early years, they were just pretty much the guys just playing some bar shows and doing one demo. And when I joined, we did another demo. So the band really started like doing things more seriously in 2016 when we started working on the first album. So in a way, we feel like that's when the band really started and took its current form. Because that's been interesting, because it's really easy to compare yourself to other artists, and you know that there are a lot of bands that have started around COVID and after COVID, and now we see that they are at the same point that we are. So we are comparing ourselves. Oh, these guys are moving so much faster. But then you have to realize that it's quite rare for a band to be together for this long with this same name for what 16 years at this point is quite rare. So many of those bands that are our contemporaries now, they've had some other bands back in 2010s that have since disbanded, and they've learned their lessons back then, and they've now formed new bands. But it's been a really blessed situation for us that we've been together with some lineup changes for all those years. And even though the very early years, it wasn't that active, or well, it was active, but not that serious. It still laid the groundwork for what was to come.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's like they say, you know, everything happens for a reason, and sometimes sometimes we have to wait for things to actually fall into place, I guess. So
That's true.
so but yeah, Nox, I just wanted to tell you seriously, thank you for taking the time today, man. This felt really less like an interview, more like stepping into another world for a while. I generally appreciate the openness and depth you gave it. I really do appreciate it, man. And hopefully
Yeah,
we can
thank
do
you.
this again. Oh, no problem, man. You took time for me today, man. I really do appreciate it. So, but
Yeah, you took time to hear an artist ramble about their art, because you know we love to do that.
don't get me started about my photography, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, okay, this guy needs to shut up now. So,
Yeah, let's do
I,
that another time.
there you go.
Yep.
Absolutely, man. Love to. All right, thank you, Nox. I really appreciate it, man. Have a good day, dude, and get some sleep.
Yeah, I will try to. Have a good day.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.